All righty, family. This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. Please let me know if you all can hear me well, if you can see me well. I'm going to look forward to see what the response is and all that right there as we come in. Let me also tie this in. So can y'all hear me well? One second here.
Didn't see there. I'm Joe.
Yes to both. I can hear you. Okay, great. Well, family, hey, I am thankful to be here to be able to talk about a subject matter that I found not too long ago on a video that our brother Dane Calloway did. Now, let me go ahead and put in a disclaimer. All right, for those who do not know me, hold one second here. Let me gather this right here. For those who do not know me and my channel, there's always technical difficulties, when we come on here. Okay, all right. I'm Go Black to Africa, and my channel has been around. I'm approaching 1 year on this channel, and if you've watched my videos, heard some of my talks, then you kind of get a little understanding that I have done some traveling in Africa as well as around the world. But I'm gonna do a disclaimer real quickly so that each and every one of us will understand where I stand when it comes to this topic matter. Now, for those who know me right here, I am not going to bash my brother Dane. I'm not going to belittle him. I'm not going to shame him. I am not going to do what I see that we do so often here in our community, Black, African, American, whatever you want to call yourself. I will not try to destroy our brother because we do too much of that. I'm too old for that. I've outgrown that. What I will do is address some things that I see that he is mistaken in. Now, that is my opinion, and I will share my opinion based upon my truth. My truth, and I've said this before for those who know me very well, that my truth and any man's truth, in my opinion, is based upon a man's experience and his understanding. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you can take two individuals who can sit and tongue wrestle and argue over an issue. And what you're going to find is they're arguing because their understanding of what the other is talking about, they did not gather that understanding or information, or they didn't have that experience. And so they butt heads on the topic. Now, we know that our brother has a channel, and I must say that he has a pretty good channel out there with some good following and a lot of views. I'm going to say also for our brother, in respect to my brother, that he has done an outstanding job in his research, as well as laying out documentaries that take a lot of work. Now, the area that I have a problem with is that there are a few things that I find in his documentaries that he do. And this is in my opinion, that he is biased in his documentaries, and he tells you that how he feels, and nobody can change how he, his belief system and stuff, that he is very adamant in where he stands. So his direction of research is all stemming from his biases and where he's trying to find his truth. For those who know me, I show the good, the bad, and the indifferent. I've come to a place in my life that I am base, and I'm going to present and show information so that you can make your own determination of what is. I also inspired people to go find your truth yourself. Our problem in the Black community is we always want people to tell our story. We want people to show us and tell us, but we don't have our own personal story to tell. This is a problem that I see with us because we as a people want others to do the legwork, the research, and supply the information. And then we argue when we find information that might be contrary to your own belief. With that in my disclaimer for my brother Dane Calloway, like I said, he does his job very well. Though I might think it's biased, though I think that he is trying to build his case because what he believes, he also says this right here. I'm going to refer to my notes here because I want to at least show my brother respect and not misquoting things that he say in his findings, and that I'm going to share with you my findings. Now, he says that this is his motto: I am here just to make you think. I love that saying. I call it a provoking thought. I like to provoke thought with people because it gives us the opportunity to unravel a mindset at that moment, to question, and hopefully send you on a journey to research and find out for yourself what this person has shown and done or said. Is it true? Now, very few people want to go to that extent in finding their truth, and they rather rely on a person what they heard. Now, I'm here to tell you this right here so I can give you a little background of who I am. Okay, I'm 55 years old, and I would say Dane is probably in his 30s. You know, we look good for our age. He might be in his 40s. I don't know. He might be late 20s and early 30s. But I'm saying this is that he is on his journey. I remember when I was his age, when I became into a place, you know, I think his YouTube channels is 4 years old, 5 years, 6 years old, or something like that. I can't recall really, but he is in a place of discovering and learning and growing. Not to say anything negative about that, but I've come in my lifetime to understand that every time you turn over a rock, you open a book, you dig in the dirt, you will have new discoveries. And the question of it is who is right and who is wrong? This is where we need to get to understand that in this life, all you got is your understanding and your experience. Everything else you're learning, somebody told you. But let's get into this. Like I said, let you know a little bit about myself. I did 20 years in the military, Air Force to be exact. I was in the information arena. Okay, so I have background I worked in defense intelligence. I worked, in the Space Command. I worked in 9th Air Force headquarters. I've worked with security forces. I've worked with intelligence, special operations, because I was in information. You know, when it comes to information, it continuously changes. Why? Anytime you pick up a book, anytime you research, you are reading and studying from somebody else who wrote that and have to deal with their perception, their background, their religious beliefs, their political beliefs, their culture, their race, the environment or the terrain or the place that they were set in at a moment of time. And every person's perception as you write will only be put on paper how you saw it. We have to understand that all information is not absolute and exact. There is always another side to it in how the person was writing. This is a known fact. This is something that I had to understand when it came to information. You know, in the military, they say, loose lips sink ships. That was a saying. And me being working with the intelligence, there was a thing to where bits of information you can collect, and that bits of information can tell a story. Now, in ancient writings, or those who call, y'all like to call scrolls, or y'all like to call, the scriptures and stuff like that, you're going to find that even then in the ancient writings, it says you should have 2 or more witnesses to support a thing. Now, you can conjure up lies to find something to support 2 or 3 witnesses to even support a lie. But what is this that I'm talking about? We're talking about if you are going to do documentaries, if you're going to write a book, if you're going to have and claimed it to be true, you should have supporting evidence to be able to show what it is to substantiate your argument or your presentation. Now, I find with my brother, Dane, he doesn't do a lot of revealing of his sources, his resources. He do present some information, and he do present, whether it may be documentations, he will recite, whether it might be organizations, writings, or books. Very rarely will he reveal his sources. Now, with Dane Calloway, and I've came across this brother, I don't know how long ago, but what I find is in all of his documentaries, he has some interesting topics. Like he said, I'm here just to make you think. But he stands on the very beliefs that he has and what he's presenting. And even in his videos, he admits that the Department of Historical Resources and the American Textbook Council have twisted information, whether it's dealing with the history stories, whether it's dealing with things that have happened. They also have been to the extent of even taking our stories, our literatures, and place them in other authors' hands and giving them the credit. He has admitted this, but in his arguments that he claims that the histories are twisted and not are true and a lie, he references that information to support his argument in what he believes. Now, let me stop right here real quick because, here it is. I do not know his wealth of knowledge. And most importantly, I don't know his travels. I don't know if he's ever left America. I've seen, I've done research on the brother because I had to make sure I come correct and valid and right. But I've seen 2 photos of him, one video, him standing in Jamestown, Virginia, and he was talking about the first Africans coming off the boat was a lie. And there's another picture of him standing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But I could not find anywhere of him stepping in other countries around the globe. So I don't know. And also, to be fair, I did reach out to him only through one of his videos to tell him I was doing this right here. And I invite him to call in so we can have a discussion. But it was a last moment thing that I decided I was going to do. So he might not have even got the message. And hopefully if he sees the video, we can go ahead and do another video and discuss maybe some matters and all that right there. But I don't know his travels, but it tells me, indications are telling me he has not traveled to Africa. I cannot see this brother ever traveling to Africa because there's 3 things I'm going to address tonight from the previous video that he did. One is his claim that we all who are here in America are indigenous to this country. Now, let me stop and pause right and put my kickstand down. Let me say this right here, and let me read this real quick. because we are all over the globe. Every country I've been to, I found us. We are, you can find us in practically everywhere around this globe. Now, I want to give respect to our brother who just passed away, Renuko Rashidi. If any of y'all know Renuko Rashidi or don't know Renuko Rashidi, please do yourself a favor and research him, because this brother just passed away a week ago, who have been to 125 countries in all the museums to lay out where all Africans, Black people, for those who want to call themselves Africans, around this globe, that he has gone in to find the historical data and the facts, whether it was through the artifacts, whether it's through the writings, whether it's through the museums. This brother has done a history of showing us the legwork he has done, that he have left for us to see. We are a people around the globe. Matter of fact, this brother here, his work is being embraced in Ghana, and over 50,000 of his photos, from what I've been told, is going to be used in a museum that is being right now constructed today, of his findings around us, for us around the globe. And so I am not going to sit here and try to argue with people. If you've done your research of your ancestry, if you know who you are, I'm not talking to you. For I know before the Europeans came to America, Africans were here. Africans were around the globe. Now, let me read this right here, because I am a man that believes in a greater power beyond myself. And I believe that ancient writings were left for us, though there are those that were tampered with, names twisted, switcheroos of nations and lands, names forever changing. But I understand some things when I had to go out and find my truth. That in these ancient writings, man had a relationship, just like I have a relationship, or you might have a relationship. And whatever name you decide to call, I'm not here to tell you what name to call, but in your life, because I challenge each and every one of you all to find what you say you believe in, not based off what I say and anybody else say, but what does it that you found in your research for who you to be. Because there were Africans here in America before the Europeans came. That is very well documented, as well as being around the globe. But let me read this out quickly to you all to start a base of why I'm saying, and why the ancestors have even written. Why are we all around the globe? I've been to many countries, and I keep searching this out and finding us. It says, "And the Lord shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there you shall serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone." I just say that right there because I want to drop something in your lap. You see, my brother, Dane Calloway, he has said that the transatlantic slave trade never happened. He is proposing, or proposed, that we were indigenous here to this country and then put into slavery. And for him, his argument, or one of his points of argument, is that there's no slave ships. Now, there again, if you want to call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, so do it. For I know even the name Africa was not its original name. It was a landmass. It was over thousands of tribal people roaming the lands. But there is one fact that scientists have proven without a shadow of a doubt, and that is humanity started in Africa. Now, I understand for those who hate, self-hate, you became Americans maybe, or you call yourself Americans and you stand for this country and you don't want nothing to do with over there because of maybe the narrative that has been shown or where some underlying issues maybe you might have. It's already been proven. It's already been shown. Humanity started in Africa. So we are the original people. And out of us came others. Scientifically, biologically, and chemically or chemistry has been proven. Now, there are those who want to doubt. There are those who want to deny. There are those who will argue and debate. Well, so be it. But for my truth and my research, you can't convince me, and then you stand where you stand. But if I ask you why, please have your points of reference of why instead of somebody telling you. So let me refer to my notes here again as I get on right here, because I'm building a base here, and I'm going to get into the 3 things that Dane Calloway is stating that is far from the truth. That transatlantic slave trade never happened. Number 2, he touched my hero, which is so-called, Harriet Tubman, was a false fallacy, a lie, and that the Underground Railroad never existed. And that we are natives, the native Indians that we know, we are them. And yet they were put in our position in place. And we rightfully need our place back. This is his dissertation. This is his presentation, what have you. Now, let me continue on here with this right here as I read through these notes. We have to understand what I just read from the ancient writings, from the Almighty, from the Lord, that we were scattered amongst from one end to another. For Africa, give it with Al-Kabalan, whatever name you want to give, whatever it is, it doesn't matter as far as what we're talking about. The name is used as a point of reference. You can't look at this without saying there is a point of reference where we come from. Humanity comes from. So I'm not going to tongue wrestle over the name that is called, or we are called this and we're called that. We're talking names. Let's talk about a point of reference. But here it is that Africa is the root. And we all out here in the rest of the world are the branches, scattered abroad. Now, whoever stepped foot on or put an imprint on the land, we can say they're indigenous too. It's proven that, yes, Africans had a way of life here, but not as the numbers that we are here today, as well as back then. As far as slavery was concerned, we got off them god doggone ships, and I'm gonna prove it to you. Yes, we had you. There was over. They say, who are they? This is what records are showing. Over 575 tribes of natives that were here. You got some tribes were darker than I am. But there's a few things that you can make and determine based upon how we look, whether or not we have some type of association or not with those people. Now, I'm not going to get into the mixing and all that right there, because there's people who have, and families tell them that they have native blood in them. That ain't for me to dig into your records. If you've done your research or you know your family tree, who am I to say that you ain't native? But for the majority of us who is sitting here in America, it is a proven fact there was a transatlantic slave trade that existed. Now, let's get on to that. That I laid everything out. That I said I'm going to respect my brother because he's my brother. You will not hear me ridicule, tear down, or ostracize, or try to ridicule my brother. I admire my brother. He's doing some research and work. And he does a pretty good presentation on his documentaries. Now, let me say this right here, because I'm going to lay out some of my background like I just did, me working in information and intelligence and working in DI, all that stuff there. I understand information, and I know how information is utilized. Now, one thing that I understand when it comes to documentaries don't have to be true. Documentaries can be false. You can create any documentary which way you want, to slant it the way you want, to provide the information that you want, and there is nothing or no one who can stop you from doing such. How do I know that? Yes, I went to film school, checked my records. So I understand about script writing. I understand about telling stories, creating storyboards. I understand about filming and videography, photography. I understand all that. I've worked in that industry. So I understand something, that it broke my little heart when I was in school. When I found out documentaries don't have to be factual. I was like, what? You mean to tell me that the documentaries, whether it is on Netflix or whether it is on what are those ones where it deals with Africa and history and all those different channels, that they don't have to be. The story is told by those who wants to present to you what they want to. And this is what our brother Dane Calloway does. You see, I call him one who's like another kind of short-sighted. Now, that's not belittle my brother. What I'm saying is he believes something and he's going to build a case. So, for instance, he made claim that you can't find any slave ships. And I was like, is that what he is going to stand on? Because there's no slave ships, he's going to stand on there was no transatlantic slave trade. Now, the short-sightedness is one who would behave like this. They go dive in the water looking for a slave ship. They see an old, battered, tattered sail down there, and they toss it aside and say, that's not the sails, that's not the slave ship. They see an anchor and they toss it aside and they say, that's not a slave ship. They'll find an old the oars, or they'll find any parts of that ship that they will ignore because they're looking for the ship. And all the while, when you talk about information, like I said, bits and pieces can tell a story. Now, I know my brother, he knows that, but he's going to substantiate his argument, and it's only going to prove and show information that will only be on his side. I don't operate like that. I like to present the information that I find, to see, let the information present itself. Now, like I said before, family, information, even in history, I approach everything as a grain of salt, because I know stories are slanted, they're manipulated, there are lies in it. And so you got to have other stories in order to bring in, to be able to cast a light on whether or not the very thing that you believe in existed or not. You cannot rely on American history to find out if transatlantic slave trade has happened. You just can't go to the internet and just look up and find vlogs, blogs, or whatever you want to call it, or writings, and go and, to the on the internet to find information whether or not this information happened or not. You got to get off of your butt and spend some money and go travel. That's our problem. See, we don't want to go research. We want somebody else to tell our story. We want somebody else to do the legwork. So I'm kind of interested to see how well my brother has traveled, because to come out of the mouth to say there was no slave ships does not substantiate your argument. But let me tell you what I know. And for you all who has followed my travels in Africa, because like I said, my truth and his truth are two different things. And in my opinion, based upon what the Spirit showed me, was truth is based on one man's understanding and experience. That's all you got for your truth. And if you're going to rely on somebody else's story and somebody else's books and somebody else's writings, even museums, when you walk in, you're going to have to discern and allow other places, people, to research to find out, are there witnesses to the thing that I believe in? So let's get into that about ships. The ships. There are no transatlantic slave ships. Okay, well, I'm going to give you that right there then, my brother Dane. I'm going to give him that. Okay? But I'm going to also say that if you're going to stand on that, let's talk about some things that existed but you can't find. I mean, whether you want to talk about, let's talk about the animals that are extinct. Just because they're not here don't mean they never existed. There have been many animals that were here before that don't exist now. And then now you're going to argue, I can't find them. Me and my wife was driving down Ohio State University down on South High Street. And, she graduated from Ohio State. And she was, we were driving down South High Street and she was just in awe in the changes. She was like, I used to go catch the bus stop here. It's not here no more. That building wasn't there. This was this big old erect building here. And then she was pointing out all the differences from just in 1986 to 80, I think 89 or 90, of how much of a change happened. Now, I could easily say, hold up, you crazy. If it ain't there, it don't exist. So we can't argue that. But what are the witnesses to show? Was there a transatlantic slave trade? Because you can't stand off there was no slave ships. Because we do know there are records that are shown, the selling of slaves. We know there are pictures, newspaper articles that exist that shows ships that came in, the names of ships and all that right there. But there are something more important that I said that you need to do. Get off your couch and go check other countries to see what is their story. You see, that's why I don't even think my brother been to Africa, because there's no way you can ignore whether it is Gorée Island in Senegal, whether it was James Island or what they call Kunta Kinte Island today in Gambia, whether it was the Cape Coast, Elmina in Ghana, whether it was on down the west coast of Africa of slave dungeons, or they call them castles or what have you, or holding buildings where they held Africans for the ships to come in. Now, let me ask you this right here, because what's very interesting is these are all on the coast and on islands. Now, how do you get to the coastal line in the islands where it is still erected, these buildings? Look at my videos that shows where the slaves were held. Still got all of the chains, the rooms, the stories, they got the museums, they got the books, they got the history. That's why I said, go back to Africa. For we were only taught a small little smidget of our history getting off of ships. Dane is saying we never had the ships. We were always here. But hold up now. America doesn't have any dungeons, castles on their shorelines. They got some forts, but they were no holding slaves. Why? Why is it that you can find in Africa, you can find these erected dungeons on the coastal line, on islands, that shows this is where the slaves were held, waiting for ships to come in? I don't think my brother has been there. And if he has, he's definitely did put a blind eye to that. How is it you can ignore their stories, their books, their writers? How is it today that in Africa, in Sierra Leone, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, these countries are admitting through their history, they sold our people, their people. Let me back that up, because was it really their people? Because there's an argument that we were a special people while they gave us up. But I'm just saying, Ghana done gave up 5,000 acres as an apology to us for selling the ancestors into slavery that their records show happened. And they're giving land up for you and me that we can partake in Ghana. Asebu is the name of the place. Please check my man, Echo Simpson, out. He's there in Ghana. He's done many of videos on this. He will walk you through. You can fill an application out and you can get you some land. The land is free if you want to call it that, but it's $700 for the fees, surveillance and other administrative fees and stuff like that. Nothing come free today, y'all. But these tribes, these governments have acknowledged through their history, they sold us. When you go to the so-called museums or you go to the slave dungeons, they admit we were sold. So for Dane to say there was no ships, there was no slave trade. Now, for y'all who ain't never been over in Europe, I'm going to question, did Dane even go to Europe? Because there were 5 major countries who were in the transatlantic slave trade. You had Spain, Portugal, Britain, Dutch, and it was the French, or the Danish rather. These were people, I think it was 6 of them. Have you been to their countries to research their history, to see that they play an active role in the transatlantic slave trade? Did you go dig in their museums, in their books? See, if you haven't got off of your couch to leave a country, I don't know if he has, but how can you make such an outlandish statement that the transatlantic slave trade never existed because there's no ships? You know, there are many of evidence out here that the transatlantic slave trade has happened. You know, I just left Curacao in Aruba. Those watch my video. I just uploaded a video in Curacao. Them right there having a museum of the slave trade that happened. You can walk in most countries and they're gonna have information on slavery from Africa. These are witnesses after witness after witness that you just cannot put aside and say, nope, don't want to hear it. Nope, there's no ships to be shown. So the transatlantic slave trade and all of y'all that are here, you're indigenous to this country. Now, I love his so-called energy and wanting to believe what he wants to believe. But sometimes you got to be man enough to step up and say, hold on, let me rethink this thing here. Let me get out here and check and have what witnesses are against America's history. Because you better believe America's history is tainted too. Like I said, I approach information like a grain of salt, very cautiously. Even if I go to museums and statues that are wrecked, I know it came through the hands of man. But you got to find witness. You see, when it comes to people's belief in everything, we tend to stand wholeheartedly on our belief. And I challenge sometimes people in their belief because I want to know what their evidence is. Very few people have evidence. They would tell you, oh, I read, I heard, somebody told me. Very few people are willing to go beyond than what they were told. You know, I've traveled a lot of places. Matter of fact, I've traveled to the 50 states here in this country. Me and my wife, let me just show you just a smidge bit of me and my wife's travels. Look, hold on a second. We have traveled, and these books here, right here, are just a small few of my wife's. She did these books, y'all, everywhere we go. And we went on the native trail of history and the African slave trade, as well as the Underground Railroad history. And now we went from Louisiana all the way on through to Ontario. You see, I don't know how much Dane has traveled. I've only seen 2 videos or 1 video of him being in Jamestown, Virginia, and 1 picture with him in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've been to 50 states. I've covered all the states. That was one of my goals. And in that travel, me and my wife, we went along the history of the natives. And we went along the history of the Africans and the Underground Railroad. Now, you know, I can pull up all these books right here, and it's going to show you whether this is New York, Niagara Falls, Toronto. You know, these are places that we stopped through and we checked out. You know, we checked these out right here. You know, we have all these right here of showing, like this right here is, this one right here is the Niagara Falls Underground Railroad Heritage Center. We stopped through here and to see where and who partaked in this so-called Underground Railroad. Now, my brother says that the Underground Railroad name, the name was used in a different context before the 1950s. And that it's a farce and it doesn't exist. And he showed his video of the Underground Railroad. It wasn't even the Underground Railroad. And, you know, they're using that the railroad itself, and it went underground in the rock and all that right there. And this is where they got the name from. But that, I'm just going to keep on. I'm just going to keep on showing you. These are trips we went on. You know, but the Underground Railroad wasn't the name and all that right there. Well, I understand that. It wasn't called the Underground Railroad. Then he showed Harriet Tubman that he wants to say, quote, that she was a conductor and she never lost a passenger. And he wanted to stand on that. She said she was a train conductor. He didn't understand she was talking about the people. This woman had a train of people and conducted it and led people into freedom. Now, I didn't know whether or not he was just being kind of sarcastic, or was he really holding on to her hard words of her using it as an allegory that this is how she was, like a train conductor. Because we know in the 1800s, no black woman was any type of train conductor. So why would she make that statement? But see, when you have people who want to present their story and present it in their way that they want to, they're going to do anything to refute or prove what it is they're trying to build. Look, let me say this right here, because he's made the claim, and I think I've already shown that if you ain't been over to Europe, if you ain't been to Spain, if you ain't been to Portugal, if you ain't been to Britain, if you ain't been to dig into their history and their books and their museums and stuff to see whether or not the transatlantic slave trade has happened and they partaked in it, and you want to rely on the internet or just on American soil of the writings that is, you got another thing to come. Now, I'm not saying he's not Native American. He might be Native American, and that is his business. And you might be Native American, but the majority of us here in this country come from Africa. There's too much witness, too much evidence to show and prove it. Africa go to Africa, it's proven it. Everything is still erect there from them times, the dungeons, the histories, the books, and them admitting their fault by their histories, giving us land. Get you some of that land, y'all. I decided I'm gonna go over there and get me some land there in Ghana too. Heck, might as well. But let me show you just a little bit of my travels, because see, I've been to as far as Alaska. As far as Alaska, I told you I've been to all 50 states. Let me see, what does the natives in them, because there's natives up there. Now see, let me say this right here too. When we go, we just don't do tours and hang around tourists and stuff. For those who know my travel, I likes to find the locals. I likes to have the conversations with the locals to hear what they got to say, what their story was and what their story is. You know, we were over here in, this was down in Ketchikan, and we came across some native and some of their cultures and stuff right here. You know, I'm trying to turn this where you can see, you know, and really delving into a lot of their history and finding out their stories. You know, this right here is the excursion to the Saxman Totem Village. I had a very interesting conversation with one of the natives that are there. And my wife, she writes and tells a story, what we heard, or what the locals maybe we talk with, what some of the, some of the people might have said, or some of the museums and all. And she writes little notes and stuff, and she does very good work on these books right here. And I'm telling you, it's great to go back to, But this was down the trails that you're seeing from Alaska all the way down. We went to New Mexico, Oklahoma City. We even did the Tulsa. Oklahoma City has a lot of native history there. And you know what? There again, there's a very different, distinct look from an African and natives. Now, I'm not saying you haven't been mixed or your granddaddy ain't. We know that happened. And we know there were Africans here. The question is, are you going to state a claim on what you don't know or what you do know? Are you going to label yourself something that you don't know or you do know? Even in Oklahoma, we found many of history of our brothers and sisters, even the natives. Now, I agree with Dane when he says that, there are, $5 Native Americans. You better believe it. There are those who stole identities all day long. There are those who claim they native that they ain't. Those who claim they Jews, they ain't. There are those who claim that they something else and they ain't. We were over in, I think we were in Kenya, me, my wife, and Serenity. And she saw some of the white girls who had their hairs braided, and some, I think an older woman, white woman who had her hair dreaded. And she felt, no, we weren't. We were in Zanzibar, excuse me. We were in Zanzibar. And she felt a certain kind of way and was like, yo, that's our hairstyle. And I said, wait till time goes on. They're going to be saying they're African. They doing it anyway. Go to South Africa. They call themselves Africans. And so, yes, we've been pushed aside and they've slid in some of these places that we need to be in. But there is a total different culture, different makeup as a people from a native, if you will, because native means that you were just here. But if you want to talk about if they're Indians, but they weren't even Indians because it was Columbus, who came here and saw that he thought he was in India, so he called them Indians. But the native people, darker than I am, on down to light skin, and also had relations with those who Africans that were here in certain parts of the country. Typically, you'll find the darker ones were down in the southern parts. That's how you get the Seminoles and the Blackfoots and all those right there, who was down in the Floridas and the Georgias and on over in the southern plains were more darker of skin. Those in the northern plains were more lighter of skin. But to sit here and tell people that we are the indigenous people, there are those that may be scattered that are, but the majority. Now, he will even argue, so that you don't have no proof for yourself, that everything is fictitious, even down to the DNAs that people are inquiring to see what is in them and their DNAs. Well, then what are we supposed to use then if we are going to, if we're going to rebut what you say and you don't even use our truth, our findings, our evidence? If a person's going to do a DNA and it shows them they have this, this, and that, and it shows that they have African, or African is just a word, it's just a point of reference now. It's just the name they gave, just like they named this America. It's just a land they gave a name to and call a people. Just like my brothers and sisters out there who wants to argue, hey, we are the children of Israel. Okay, you're the children of Israel. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're not. But they made Israel a land. It's supposed to be a people, a person. Then those who came under was a people. But my brother here is trying to make some of these, to me, this outlandish stories to push and squeeze us into being native to America. Now, I call this myself self-hate. This is the narrative that has caused a shame and a disgust in us to want to even be affiliated with Africa. This is something that, where you look at my video that I just put up and look at the thumbnail, I got that from Carousel. They even have the same problem. You're going to see that guy that's kind of light skinned painting the light skin because the black brother don't want to be dark skinned. This is where we got to. Self-hate, don't like who we are. I've never in my 55 years ever thought I would see black folks afraid to say they part African, or folks to even say they're black, or folks don't want to come out and anything else but say, I'm American. I never thought I would ever see that, y'all. But this is the day and time we are. But I'm not going to shame y'all. I'm not going to shame y'all or make or belittle you all or ridicule you or damn you or anything. My thing is, let the information be witness to point in the direction, and you do your research and find your truth. But if you want to be that so-called, as they say, the ostrich put his head in the sand, which even we just found out from being down in Aruba, that they said the ostrich don't ever put his head in the sand. We went to an ostrich farm. See, you can find out stuff that you believed in, that you travel the world and you like, what? Ostrich don't put his head in the sand? No, ostrich don't put his, no, that's just a saying they got. All these sayings that we believe in, but many people want to hide and not know and just stand on what they believe. That's you. But at least come correct with information. So me and my wife, there's another book right here. New Mexico. We went down there and we checked out some history, questioning, taking note, cross-referencing the information to cross-referencing, because that's what you got to do today. You just can't go off of just any information somebody gives you. Now, Brother Dane wants you to believe that, this information was all made up, that it excluded us out of the pictures. And my thing is this right here. Okay, if we are part of the native, even if we were in numbers as Africans, living here on the continent for long periods of time, we can't find anything, whether it's huts or artifacts or materials and things to show that we set up house here for long times. Now, we know natives, they claim they lived in the teepees and, and they uprooted and they wandered and they were wanderers around and stuff. And they stayed in their own kind of, territories and stuff like that. But when I get into the books that we have been to, let me go into these books that we have been to. These right here are these right here are us going on the trail of the natives. This is the trail of the natives. Let me pull these books out for y'all, because I ain't got yet to when he talked about Harriet Tubman. This is Northern 2000. Okay, these are experiences. Okay, so we got our books on the trails of the native history that we went to, researched, talked with locals, heard the stories, listened to their chants, their own languages they still have to this day. Not a Black person I know speaking any language outside of English here in America, that if it's anything going back in time, we know we lost our African language. Natives still have their languages. Some of them still hold true to their cultures and traditions, or try to at least hold on to it. But boy, did they talk about the white man really bad. And even in their museums, they say when the white men, this is what they say. They say when the white man came, they stole their religion or their spirituality. They said it wasn't religion, their spirituality, their way of life, their culture, their language, their history, wiped away. Of course. Yet we still find history by those who remain. Now, I'm not saying all who claim to be native are native. And I'm not saying that every Black person here in America came straight out of Africa. I'm saying the large majority came out of Africa. And I think I've already gave you some points to prove based upon the 5 other countries that were involved, or the 5 countries actually were involved in the Atlantic slave trade, as well as all the proof there in Africa, who is a witness to show what's been erected, what's on islands, the history, their books, their admittance. They're given land because of their involvement in slave selling Africans to the white men. This history is there. Let's move on, fam. Now, let me repeat again that we have been scattered abroad through the ancient writings that we have as evidence that the Almighty showed that we've been scattered abroad. And there again, for those who just came in, I'm giving honor to our brother Runoko Rashidi, who just passed away a week ago. He just took a trip back over to Africa and passed away over there. If you don't know who he is, Runoko Rashidi, he has been to 125 countries. He has done a heck of a work showing we are all over the globe in all these countries. He has been in the museums and taken photos. He's got books he's written, and not just that. We have scholars and brothers who have done beyond, who was way before him. Dr. Henrik Clark, Ben Yakadin. I mean, we got other people, so many people. I don't even want to miss any, but we got our brothers and sisters who went on their journey to find truth. But I don't think Dane, he mentions his resources or his sources and how he comes to his information, because I can almost bet he is using American history that he says has been twisted, that's full of lies, that he is using that same information to substantiate his argument. Let's move on. He talked about Harriet Tubman. Now, y'all know Harriet Tubman, to me, in my opinion, made the greatest sacrifice. Now, we know that history can depict, can embellish, can take away from, and add to any story. Because anytime you see the picture of Harriet Tubman, you're going to find she was a very old woman. Now, just so happened, me and my wife have been on the African side of the trail, that we got books to show that all up and down from the south of Louisiana all the way up to Ontario, that we got story, history, artifacts, records that we've done in showing there was an underground railroad. Now, if you want to argue about, was that the name? I'm not going to argue about the name. I know it exists because we've been into the houses of some of the abolitionists who helped the slaves head north and be free. We've been into the houses with the secret chambers, the barns, the old decrepit barns that some are still standing on, that had secret compartments. Some been refurbished to show. But we've been along all these, like I said, I've been to all 50 states, but along the eastern borderline of America, from Louisiana on up, we followed different trails, and they've branched off, and we haven't gone to all different ways, because guess what? Harriet Tubman was not the only one who was freeing slaves. She's just the one who happened to get the claim, the state of claim, the notoriety. If I say that right, notoriety. Why? Because if you look at Rosa Parks, she is known for not getting up out of her seat to head to the back of the bus. She is the one that everybody knows about, Rosa Parks. She got all the fame and the glory. Her name is in the books for doing such an act. But do you know who was way before she was? It was a 15-year-old girl. Her name was Claudette Colvin. That's her name. Make sure I say that right. Claudette Colvin, a 15-year-old girl who inspired Rosa, and her own amendments inspired her. But Rosa got all the claim. Now, I sometimes say, because Claudette, she was dark skinned. Rosa Parks was light skinned. Now, is there something to that? And I don't know, but I'm just saying. Claudette, 15 years old in Montgomery, Alabama, refused to get out of her seat and was arrested. Now, you got to cross-reference that to check the story, because I had to do that to make sure that I'm not going to be chewing on anything that may be a lie. But for him to say and state claim that Harriet Tubman is a lie. Now, many of people, like I said, who never got the name were out there freeing slaves. I don't care if it was Harriet Tubman, if that was not her real name. I don't care if you think that it didn't exist. Because guess what? It was the Spirit of the Most High who was in those bodies going down, freeing a people. That's why you can find different acts of kindness or different acts of sacrifice from people who had the same spirit. There's never always just one person. There might just be one who they go ahead and recognize. But he said she was not even real. But you got to have a witness. I don't know if the man travels or not, but it's mighty funny that the states we have been in. Let me show you this one book right here. Let me show you this. Look at these books right here. Let me show you this. This ain't even all of them. My wife just pulled out some of them from the states we've been in and to the history trail we've been on. Let me show you this one book right here. My wife did all these books. See, we got our own story. We tell our own story based upon the history. We pass it on down, and if our kids are, want to always look through and see, wow, our folks been there. And guess what? It shall be. This right here was very interesting. We wanted to knock out, well, no, not this one. This is the one. The New England states. This right here. This right here. Look how thick that book is. My wife, it takes photos after photos, after story, and on our way, Oh yeah, he mentioned about Boston. He mentioned in his video about the Boston African, the African American. We've been there. We heard the history. We did our checks. We checked what was. We cross-referenced from one state back there to a state up there to hear and see. But this right here, the New England states, we knocked out, as you can see, oops, wrong hand, all the states, Maine, all of that. We were there. Now, my wife, she right here, she just tabbed these last night that will reference the various places that we have been that on this topic we're talking about, the trails or what have you. When you get into this is like a tombstone or a headstone. This is a graveyard we were at. The history back to the 1640s. This graveyard. This is in Newport, Rhode Island. Check what else right here so we can share with y'all. Because see, if you ain't got the evidence, if you ain't walked the miles, if you have not got out of your chair, if you have not gone and traveled around to see if there's witness that bears to your story or what you're trying to research, you may be putting out false information. Look, this is something very interesting because this right here is, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. This right here is about our brothers and sisters, our brothers rather, back in the days who were porters on the train. And just so happened, my wife's uncle was a porter on the train. Now that's why when we know that we learned the history of the trains, not just here, and this right here was in uh, Carnegie. Where is this? No. Anyway, I don't want to read through all her writing, but he made state and claim that she was a conductor on a train. In the 1800s, not even a black man was a conductor on the train, let alone a woman. That he's saying, she quoted saying that she was a conductor on the train when he didn't even realize she's talking allegorically or giving an illustration or a comparison that taking the people from the South is where she was a conductor. And she says she never lost a passenger. She would shoot one though, because if you, of course, there were those who wanted to turn around and go back, and she had to kill him because she knew that the trail could not be compromised. And she knew that there was definitely reward on her head, and that, you know, this right here could ruin it for the rest of the people she's trying to come back to go ahead and free. See, sometimes you just got to put a bullet in the head with some folks. Now, I ain't saying to literally go out there and do it, and I ain't pushing none, but it got that serious, you know, because there are those who turn their backs on you. Yes, there are those right there who stab you in the back, and there are those who are agents, and there are those who just wants to ruin it for everybody. There are those who wanted to go back to Master's plantation. But here we learn that even about the porters on the trains, you know, when this whole train of 1800s on the trains and everything, we learned all of that. I mean, this is page after page after page on the trains and how we played a part in it. We got all of the different newspaper and articles, and we have all of the everything my wife took and took pictures of all of these various different. I mean, this look. I mean, the book goes on and on, but we covered what was these 7 states. I think this trip right here we took was 7 states, and my wife had me drive all over the place. She had it laid out, and that's what she do when we go on our trips. And I thank God for my wife, because you know what? I wouldn't have ever covered a lot of ground the way she likes to cover ground. And, you know, but we got documentations to show my travels and what we do, you know, because he wants to stake claim. Dane Calloway wants to stake claim that Harriet Tubman was just a lie, and there was no such thing as an Underground Railroad. And he wants to go ahead and say that it never existed. Well, I got proof to show, yes, from state to state, from a house to a barn to whatever, that still exists. Tunnels underground still exist to this day. Now, are you going to just totally ignore that because you want to prove a point that you want to say that you're indigenous and we are indigenous, that the slave trade never happened, that the ships don't exist, when there's other witnesses in other countries to show that their involvement in slavery, even in Africa, showing what they have done, sold Africans to the Europeans. The dungeons are still erect there on islands, on the coastal lines. What do you mean? Is there a collective effort to tell a lie to make it seem like that we were sold over here and all that right there? You know, my young brother, I give him an A for effort, but you know, I give him an F because of the fact that he wholeheartedly believes in what he believes, and he knows his research. He is only going to try to find what is covered to substantiate his argument and disregard everything else. If you are a good journalist or documentary person, what have you, you should be showing all the facts and let your audience draw to their conclusion. Let's see here. I'm referring to my notes, you all. So So, the Underground Railroad, let's see here, the Underground Railroad's name, yeah, we know that, the name is not its real name. I mean, it's just like here that, the Tuskegee experiment. Everybody calls it the Tuskegee experiment. Most of y'all know what the Tuskegee experiment is. But what was the real name? The real name was Tuskegee, the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis on Negro males. That was the name of the study. So it changed. But are we going to say that, oh, well, because the name changed, that means it doesn't make it so and all that right there? No, it existed. But his argument is, no, yeah, look, Harriet Tubman or this right here, the Underground Railroad, there was no Underground Railroad. That name was given by, and it really was talking about going the underground of the railroad that existed, but there was no slave escaping out of the South because there was no such thing as Underground Railroad. There was no underground to it. When in fact, there were some underground tunnels. And here, I was just told the other day that here in Ohio, there's a place here that there's underground tunnel that goes almost a mile that is associated with the underground. Now, my brother, like I said, I'm not here to bash my brother. I'm not here to ridicule or disrespect him. I got respect for my young brother. He's a young brother of mine. I love his ambition. I love his work he's doing. But if you're going to give information and just come out and just be like, slave trade didn't happen, well, I can't sit silent and sit here and allow that to come across my table and me not say anything. And so I say to my brother, keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a great job. It's just that you're biased and it's personal and you want to substantiate your argument. You want it to be so real to you that you're willing to overlook facts. You're wanting to overlook other truths that can bear witness to the very argument that you're saying. But I say, like the old people say, keep on living because you're going to grow mature and you're going to even get that much more to a place of perfection. I'm still striving to get there. And so with this information, I hope that it at least gives you all some clarity on really what he has said that you might have not have thought about what I've presented to you as evidence that's out here. I got my own. Look, from the natives. This ain't somebody else's book. This is our books. My wife put all this together right here. This right here is our travels. All of this. From the native history to the African history. And I'm going to stand on the majority of us who live here in America, who are Black, came out of the transatlantic slave trade. And it's not something proud that I like to say, but I will say this right here. If you don't know who you are, somebody will tell you. Let me say that again. I tell my kids this. If you don't know who you are, somebody will tell you. You see, we live in a country called Damn Erica. That's right. Put the D in front of America, capitalize the E. Damn Erica. You see, she is a whore of lies. She is a thief, a rapist. She is foul. For she will twist information. She will take advantage of you and spit you out. For you already know, Damn Erica has left a lot of people by the wayside. For she only has the highest rate of drugs, incarceration for people of color, homelessness, sex trafficking. For we already know the devastation she's done against the people of color and the natives who are sitting on reservations, some with little to nothing. I've been there. I've talked to them. And I have my story, my truth, by my books of travels and visiting, to know I don't have to listen to somebody who's young in age, who's trying to convince you that we are natives. But if you don't know, I admonish you, or better yet, I challenge you to seek out, if you have an interest, to know which side you might be on. Because I've said before, you ain't got to call yourself African. You ain't got to call yourself Native. You ain't got to call yourself American. You can call yourself whatever you want, because you're in damn Erica, who says you could be a boy and choose to go ahead and become a girl. You can be a girl and choose to become a boy. You could be whatever you want to call yourself. And then ignore the truth that really slaps you in the face of who you really are. Because like I said, there were Africans in damn Erica before the Europeans came. And there were already mixings of people and families and relationships that were going on. But the majority of the people who are here on this continent come straight out of Africa. And don't let nobody fool you into having you believe you native. And when you try to go ahead and do your DNA, don't let nobody try to convince you that it ain't real. Do your homework, set up your proof, set up your evidence, have your truth. Because young ones like my brother is coming along and they're trying to change the story rapidly. They're trying to change the story rapidly. There are people to this day that are in their 80s I've talked to who still are afraid of Africa, who still think that the TV shows and the movies back in the 50s and the 60s, how they depicted, like the movie Tarzan, that Africans are swinging off trees, running around all the time naked, ain't developed. When you believe another man's story and don't have one of your own, you're subject to be fooled. And you will live a life for others. And so I challenge you, go back to Africa, because it's the root of humanity, proven not by me. I've already know the truth. I've been, I've seen, I've heard, I've touched. I have a grandfather that passed away 2 years ago. Check my video out. He told me where their story came from, where they came from. He said they was the children of Israel. This is a 107-year-old man who told me this on video, where they came out of on through to wind up in Ghana. And you got plenty of stories. Go back to Africa. You got the oldest relics, the oldest pyramids, the oldest temples on earth that still tells a story that we, with our faces on it, they look, y'all, they try to tear down some of that place from all the way from the top of Cairo all the way down to south of Sudan. There's too much history to show our accomplishments and what we achieved. The stories are tense. It's that deep into stone where man can get his hands on and change it because it's on parchment paper. It's on regular paper. You can't get a computer on it to change the story. When they knew how to read the language and the story is the original. And then you see where other religions, other philosophies, other astrologists, scientists, medical came out of. It was us. That's Facts. So with that, family, I hope that y'all enjoy this right here. Let me see what y'all got to say. As a matter of fact, I'm going to let some of y'all go ahead and call in. That would be rude of me not to have some of y'all call in. Let me, I haven't done this. Look, I haven't done this. I haven't even done this streamline in so long. I forgot that, hey, let me let y'all come on in and go and call in. Hopefully y'all got this. Hopefully we can have Brother Dane Calloway come in, share, and I hope that he's heard this, or hopefully he will see this, because like I said, this ain't no disrespect to my brother. And I respect my brother. The work he put in, my gosh. Let me show y'all this right here. My brother Dane Calloway, to substantiate one of his arguments, was that we look just like the natives. Well, no, duh. They came from out of Africa. And so he did a video to compare. Let me show y'all this video right here. This is to compare how we are next to Africans. And let's see the similarities. Let's look at the similarities. Can y'all see that? Somebody please let me know if y'all can see that and if you can hear me. These are Africans that they look, showing you all, some of these actors, some of these well-known people, what they look like. Okay, good. You can hear me. Good. I grabbed this video off of Facebook, but I thought it was very interesting because Dane had a video that he was comparing us to the natives and trying to substantiate and validate his argument that we are the same people. No doubt we're the same people as far as coming out of humanity. If you talk about humanity, yes. All races of faces come from one place, and we are the original. That's first and foremost. Now, I put the link into the chat, you all. Anybody wants to call in? Anybody wants to say, this ain't about arguing. Because let me let y'all know now, this is your man, not your boy. This ain't up for debate. This is about for you to share your story, share your view. This ain't about attack. This is a mature channel. This is about respecting one another. This is about showing that we as a people, we can disagree, but we still can be at peace. All right, so I put the link back in there, family. Look through my notes to make sure that there was nothing else. Again, I want to definitely recommend you all to go check out my brother who just passed away, Runoko Rashidi, who was a pillar in the community, who traveled extensively around the globe to show the presence of Africa and the footprint we've put across the globe. Oh, yes. Soul of Nate Turner, you must have came in late, brother, because what you just said doesn't make any sense. Extensive than comparing pictures. Look, I was just showing that. All righty here. What's up, my brother?
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's good with you? What you got for me today?
I'm good. You blocked me in the chat, so I had to call.
I blocked you?
I'm blocked. But anyways, let me say this to you though. You said you want to speak to Dane Calloway, which is great. That's good. That's a good start. But my brother, Dane Calloway is on a different level though, because see, the book that you're showing on your show today. Okay, they're not sure. Okay, let me ask you a question. Have you done your genealogy by record?
As far as it could go, yes.
Okay. I was born in Haiti. Okay, and I was raised in Florida. And I
Yeah.
can tell you right now, when it comes to Africans compared to us over here, we're not those people. We're not the same people, my brother. We're not
Who's
the
not the
same.
same? I'm sorry. Who's not the same people?
We in the Americas and those people over there, so-called in so-called Africa, and we are not the same folks. We're not the
Okay.
same people, beloved.
Okay.
Okay, as much as you want to actually prove it, make people believe in it. It's not. Listen, I mean, I'm telling you, if
What's
you,
your proof? What's your proof that we're not?
my proof is my grandmother. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
now now I have gone so far researching. uh, First of all, let me tell you who I am. I work for the U.S. government. I have been working for them for several years. In Iraq for 4.5 years, Afghanistan 3.5. I've been working for the U.S. government for many years, and I can tell you right now, everything that you have learned from those people are lies. Period. They've been lying to us since day one. Okay,
Hmm. So what did your
I never
grandmom
heard.
tell you? What did your grandmom tell you?
I was about 8 to 9 years old, and I went home. I remember this vividly, and I told my grandmother in the school, people were talking about Africa as a homeland, or where we came from or whatever. My grandmother, man, she went crazy on me. She was like, Africa? Hell no. Because she was like, I said to her, I said, well, what do you mean, hell no? I mean, we're not from Africa? She said, no, where is Africa? Where is that at? What she did is she showed me a mountain, what you call a mountain today. It's a mount where our people have been, our ancestors have been buried there for hundreds of years. Okay, and she showed me that. She's like, this is where your great grandfather buried, your grandfather buried, so forth and so on. She says, we have always been here.
Well, let me
Okay.
let me let me say, well, I don't know how long you listened to my video
Mhm.
because I've sat here and said we have been scattered around the globe. We have
Mhm.
been on many of countries before slavery. So we had footprints in some of these countries before the Europeans came. But you cannot
Mhm.
deny that the transatlantic slave trade did not happen.
Sir, I'm not denying anything. I want them to prove, whoever preaching that, I want them to prove it to me it's happened.
Well,
I'm not
you know
denying
your
anything.
history. You know it sounds like you know your history. I'm saying based upon the evidence of the 5 countries or 6 countries were involved in this transatlantic slave trade, the evidence of those things I've seen in Africa of Africans leaving out as slaves, the holding houses, the dungeons, their history, their books, their stories that showed it happened. How can we have a disregard for that?
I am okay. I'm talking.
I'm sorry, you talking about what? You broke up. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm getting a phone call. You can't hear me, right?
I can hear you now.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Willing to change my point of view at any time. If anyone, I mean anyone, can show me, prove to me the slave trade did take place. I mean, I'm gonna need.
Yeah, you're breaking up real bad, man. I can't hear you. You're breaking up real bad. I tell you this right here. You go ahead and email me
Wife
at
calling.
you're breaking up bad. You email me at go black to
I'm
Africa.
sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna have to let you go, man, because you're breaking up. But email me at go black to Africa at gmail.com. You want me to show you? I'll show you. You get your money together. Let's go, and I'll show you. I'll just show you what exists. Family. What's interesting here is that, you know, he said his grandmom. Do you know how many people lost their history? Don't even know. He even said his grandma don't even know where's Africa at. Grandma was only one generation behind. We got people today talking about we didn't come from Africa. His grandma was saying that back when he was what, 8 years old? What was that? Maybe 40 years ago, maybe. But here it is that I'm not saying y'all weren't there before the slaves came on to Haiti. I'm not saying that. That ain't for me to say. What I'm saying is it's a proven fact. Haiti's got a rich history of how they got their independence fighting off the Spaniards, the Brits, I think it was. The slaves rose up. And if you want to even talk about some of these islands weren't even in existence. They were different. They were young islands of lava rock that weren't even inhabitable. You know, the reason why that they picked West Africa in the area where we would know of from the coastal, the coastal line, west coastal line of the Ivory Coast or what have you, is because they knew we had it in us to work those hot fields. We were agriculturalists. We were cultivators. They knew the rice that we already knew how to grow. They can do that in America. The cotton and the hard labor, we can work from 18, 20 hours a day. We were built for it. They went to specific areas in Africa to find the people who would have the same type of weather conditions that the South had. What's up, Simon? How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. How you doing, Go Black? Love
Good,
your
man.
videos. Love this topic.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm lost in words when it comes down to that. When people are in denial of Harriet Tubman, where people are in denial of the whole history of the slave trade. I mean, it was. What sometimes people have a misconception of thinking, and I noticed this with my relatives as well. They think the slave trade only happened in the United States, and they have a tendency of not thinking that the slave trade happened throughout the Americas, from the Caribbean to Latin America, to parts of Latin America, throughout the Americas. So
even in Europe.
Yeah, even in Europe. You're right.
Portugal.
Yeah, you're right. Right. So it kind of is daunting on me that this whole, I don't know if it's I'm not saying these people are in denial. On my mind, I'm thinking they're denial about this whole Native American thing. And it's kind of funny though, because my ex-wife is Mexican, and it's kind of like the reverse with them. They're like in denial, not all of them, because some of them do embrace the indigenous roots, of the indigenous roots. And then when she took the DNA test, she found out that she was 80% Native American, and hardly any Spanish blood. And a lot of them are finding out that, not all, that they are a majority of Native American, and they don't have, they do have a little bit, but it's not as significant as a lot of them once thought. It's kind of like the reverse, as far as whites and blacks in America are trying to claim Native American. And then you have people in Latin America, especially in Mexico and Peru and Bolivia and those places where it has, like indigenous people who still do speak those languages, discount that. Yeah. I'm like, it's like a hell of a fuckery here. Excuse my language. It's going on in people's mind throughout the Americas, as far as losing identity. What I don't understand about the Haitian guy is Haiti still have a lot of African traditions.
I know.
That's what baffles my mind.
I know.
And the same thing with Afro-Cubans and people in Brazil. They said even Brazil and Bahia, they practice things what the Yoruba in Nigeria forgot.
That's why I said, Simon, that some people needs to get out of their own house, their state, their city, their country, and start to travel the world. And you're going to start to see and find similarities in cultures that people are practicing or doing for hundreds and hundreds of years, just like the Gullah Geechee people in South Carolina.
Right.
They are well connected with Sierra Leone.
Right.
One of the things my wife loves is the sweet grass baskets. She buys them. And come to find out, they make those over in Sierra Leone. So there is even a tie with that and their traditions and cultures that they have in South Carolina. We've been down there many times, in the Gullah Geechee festivals and all that right there, that you still see the connection. But we live in a society today that this conspiracy theories that now you don't even know what to believe. So now it's all confusion.
Right. It is all confusion. And I'm hearing this mainly, it seems like, among the millennial generation. I don't hear too much, I guess, in our generation, because I'm about the same age as you. Generation X and, baby boomers or what have you.
Yeah.
Never heard of a thing like that. And, it just really boggles my mind in regard to that. And also, sometimes I debate people online in regards to, but I do embrace West Africa, but I do also embrace our Central African roots and also our Southeast African roots. I mean, the biggest slave rebellions in South Carolina happened with a group of Africans who are from Angola and the Congo area.
Yeah.
The Stono Rebellion. My family's from South Carolina, and, I try to represent that as well, too. So it's just kind of like, that whole... I mean, even with us in this country, we do have Africanism in us. If you listen to the music, it was a musician from Mali. His name was Ali Funky Toure.
Mm-hmm.
He heard Mississippi blues and blues music. It sounded identical to the music he grew up with. I mean, if you look at that video, he was like, what is going on here? They have our music, in Mali.
You know what's so funny that blew me away, Simon? When I was there, I was in Ghana, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started hearing some of the music, I said, that's Mexican music. They said, no, that's African music. We've been playing this. And they didn't say African. They said, that's Ghanaian music.
Right.
And I said, man, it's just like Mexican music. And I was like, man, these jokers out here, I mean, you see so much of the culture and tradition scattered across the globe of where now people don't want to even give acknowledgement to it.
Right. Even in the coast of Mexico, my wife and ex-wife used to tell me, they had black slaves who was once
Hold on a second, Simon. Hold on a second. Mm-hmm. Galvin and the rest of those who want to come in the chat, if you don't want to show your face, just show your face while you in the background or in the back room, and then you can take it all, and then you can cover yourself. Because for those who know me, I did this a long time, and I always want our audience. It's our conversation. I want us to go ahead and have this conversation. So I got to see who's coming in. All right, you can go back on, Simon.
Yeah, my wife used to always talk about the coastal areas, the Pacific coast in Mexico, which had slaves there, and they had one of the biggest slave rebellions, along with the Native Americans, people who lived there as well, against the Spanish authority. And I think it was a mixed race Mexican president who was part black, part Native, and Spaniards. He freed the African slaves.
Yeah, he
freed the African slaves there.
Mm.
I guess it was their Barack Obama moment there, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah. So it really baffles my mind that these people are in total denial of it. These people are total denial of Africanism in the New World, especially from Cuba, and they still do practice almost identical belief systems as certain West Africans and Central Africans cultures.
Yeah.
It's no denial. That's just facts.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I appreciate it. I'm gonna let Galvin come on here, man.
All right, no problem. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, no problem.
Uh-huh.
All right. What's up, Galvin?
Hi. The guy was from Haiti. I think he had some issues because, well, a lot of us, we don't want to own Africa. We want to disown it. We want to say, and it's this new thing now saying that, well, we're the real Native Americans. And I'm like, so you're going to steal the Native Americans' land again, the white people done it. Now the black people want to steal it in rhetoric and telling me that. But in Haiti, now my parents came from the Bahamas, which is close to Haiti. And in the Bahamas, we have a lot of Haitians live there.
Yeah.
And I got Haitian. I got some of my cousins are half Haitian.
Hold on a
I
second.
would
Hold on a
like to
second,
ask
Galvin.
that Haitian guy, well,
Galvin,
what
hold
was
on a
Haiti
second.
called before the French got there? What you called your country? What language did you speak? Because the Haitian language is mixed with French and African. I don't know which African language it is, but it's African mixing their language with French. So they don't speak Cherokee or any other Native American language. They don't, they're not
And
the
there's
two tribes.
spiritual practices. Yeah.
Yeah, the two tribes in the Caribbean was not the Aztec, the Arawak and the Carib. Which one is him? Because I knew people that was Carib and the other one. I can't remember now. I just said it, man.
Yeah. Galvin,
but
hold on a second, Galvin. If y'all want to come in, I think we got Dane Calloway here, but you're gonna have to show your face so I make sure that it's us brothers and sisters who are wanting to be a part of this conversation. You can show your face real quick while you're in the background, and then you can go ahead and put it back on. Okay, I see you, brother. I see you, Abraham. I see you. But go ahead, Galvin.
yeah,
then,
I knew people, the natives of the Caribbean. I still know the natives of the Caribbean. They're brown skinned people with straight hair. We are black people with woolly hair, or me personally, I just go ahead and say nappy.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem saying nappy.
Mm-hmm.
And my hair is like the people on the continent of Africa. I don't have nothing in common with the Native Americans, only that we both got screwed by white people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing we got in common with them. But this guy from Haiti, man, I mean, your grandmama, you should ask your grandmama what Haiti was called and what happened to your native language before the French got there. And probably I'd like to know from you why the language you speak in Haiti is mixed with African languages.
Thank you there, Galvin. I appreciate you. All righty. If this is Dane Calloway, hey, let me just see your face real quick, man, and sure, anybody can put names up and all that right there. Dane, if that's you, so I can see your face, and I'm gonna let you in if that's you. Abraham, what's up, brother?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. I just wanted to say thank you for the work you've done. I've been following your channel since there's nobody on there. And so I appreciate you, man. I'm from South Carolina. I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina.
Oh, okay,
I grew up on the islands with the Gullah Festival. My grandmother was Geechee. Most of my friends I went to school with, they spoke Geechee, spoke Gullah.
Mm-hmm.
And just your shows give me a deeper appreciation for the lessons learned throughout life, and you've inspired me to go to Africa. And so I got my passport, and I'm ready to go. And I just want to say thank you, man. I know there's some people on this channel who are at least in the chat who don't understand like the beauty of just being African. There's a beauty in being African. There's a blessing in being black. I mean, I don't understand why you would say or think of yourself, your past, your history as a curse. You're a gift from God. Your skin is a gift from God. Your melanin is a gift from God. You being of African descent is a gift from God. It's nothing to be ashamed of at all. So get the whitewashing European thoughts out your mind and embrace who God made you to be. And I just appreciate what you do, man. So that's all I got to say, man. Love you, man. Keep up the good work, man. And God bless you, man.
Hey, same to you, brother. I appreciate that.
All right.
All righty. So we If Dane Calloway, if this is you, show your face quickly while you're in the background. I mean, you can put your cover back on. If this is you, I know that sometimes people can put up pictures and put names in the description. So I'm asking for you to at least reveal yourself while you're in the back room so I can bring you on and we can have a conversation. But I'm not getting any response from you. What's up there, Elijah? Is it Elijah? Oops, hold up. You got to unmute yourself.
Hey, family. How you doing? Blessings, family. Blessings. Eliyahu. Eli.
Peace and blessings to you, brother.
Yeah, it's unmuted right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, let me move away from the TV. So, man, a fan of your work, man. You put out some great videos, great content about the continent. I love it. So, when I hear arguments like this, you got to go to the Bible. What does the Bible say? The Bible says that we were scattered. We will go into slavery. A lot of people want to just throw out the whole scriptures, and it happened. Our people went into slavery. House of Judah went into slavery. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up about Africa, a lot of people, everybody in Africa ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? We got to understand that too, because people see Africa, they're like, oh, that's not us. That's not us. But everybody in Africa, you got Cushites, you got Egyptians. You know what I'm saying? These are different people. You know what I mean? When it comes to the people that they took were Hebrews. So I will say that. So when I hear these arguments, I was a fan of Dane Calloway. He started talking crazy. I'm like, bruh, man, how can you say that there was no slave trips, no slave ships? You know what I mean? That means you want to throw out the whole Bible. You want to throw out all the prophecies that already happened. You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So that's what I got on that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you, brother, man, for even sharing that. Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. So Dane, if this is you, all you got to do is take off, just show me who you are first. That's it. And then you can put back on cover your screen or whatever. I do a basic screening of those who comes on. If this you, I think I've seen that you said you try to get on, but he's not allowing me on. All you got to do is just show your face real quick. Because the family, there are ignorant people who come on and say things and want to disrupt and may not be of who that I feel as though that this topic is catered to. And so, Dane, if you are listening, all you got to do is show your face real quick and then go ahead and cover your screen real quick. And we can go ahead and get you on. Ezra.
Hi, Go Black. How are you?
What's up, brother? I'm doing well. About yourself?
I'm all good. Go Black. I'm from South Africa.
Okay.
Yes. Talking about slavery, it's something in terms of slavery in South Africa, for example. It's a country that has experienced that has experienced people from even Europe, Asia, that are now who now have adapted to calling themselves South Africans. And I think another thing from what a point that most people are missing is um, black people they come in different be it language, tribe. So I think even in as some people are debating the issue of slavery, be it in the transatlantic slavery, they tend to forget that it was a lot of people, mixture of people from all different areas and different tribes as well. And also slavery didn't just start like with the Americas or the what do you call it,
Transatlantic
the
slave.
yeah, even the Arabic ones. It started before. Even Africans had slaves. And also people forget that even the strongest tribes usually will also, if your tribe was defeated, you're more likely to become slave if you're not killed, especially if be it man or whatever, you start doing the dirty job of that tribe. So people tend to forget those things, that slavery didn't just start like then when people were taken to other continents, if they do believe that. But there is facts, as you already told some people, that there are countries that still have that historical places where you can really go and find it, even though some of them are not well maintained. But it's something that is has does exist, or it existed before. And for me, I always tell people, as much as, if people don't want to believe, or they feel that Africa, it's a shame because of the negative stereotypes that they've encountered, um they, I wonder, when Africa starts, if Africa becomes a global power, will people now, some of them, start associating themselves with Africa? But at the end of the day, we have the same struggle as black people everywhere in the world, whether in the Americas, they, in America or whatever, in other countries, they might be living in other better conditions than other places, but the struggle is the same. We all don't have the economic power in the world as black people. And if those are the things that should be uniting us as black people, to say, you know what, we do need the economic power of us as black people, to restore our dignity as black people, because we know we've got rich culture, we've got rich history, and our tribes, when we don't come from poor tribes, our tribes were used to be strong, used to be rich in so many things. And again, the thing is, some of people don't understand the history of how black people. I'm from the Swati group, I'm from the Bantu groups. um for example, history is passed through, like, from being taught. It wasn't really a written thing a lot. So the writing of history became later on, but normally history is passed on from your family. Your elders need to teach you your history, and how they used to live, how things should be done, and all those things, even how to carry yourself when you are with people, and how to carry yourself in life. So it's just a lot of things. But what I'm just saying is, even if people have their own thoughts about questioning the slave ships, the whatever, how many people came to the Americas, at the end of the day, it doesn't change that as black people, we don't have any economic power. That's why most people don't really respect us. That's why, even if you can be in America, that's why sometimes people don't still disrespect other people who are black, who are living in America, because they feel that they're superior, because economically they've advanced more than us as black people. So the issue of slavery and whatnot, it has affected all of us. People tend to think it was just, South Africa has a big history of that. People just think maybe Mandela, and a history of slavery didn't just start when there was apartheid. Apartheid is just a small portion of how long this thing has been going on in Africa, and in elsewhere in the world.
I appreciate that, brother. Hey, you said a lot, but you know what? Hey, it is what it is. I mean, and appreciate that, just sharing that info with us and your thoughts, your views.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks.
brother. Take
Cool.
care.
Cheers. Right.
Yeah, now if this is Dane Calloway, you're claiming you want to be on. All you do is show your face, and people don't understand. This is my platform. This is how I do things. I know there are ignorant people out there who try to be in disguise. I learned that the first show I did, So my thing is that one can just disclose who they are real quick, and you'll be on the show. Let me put the link back in. If you're unable to do that, you can go ahead and have a show and have me on. If you care to do that. We got us about 15 more minutes. Thank you very much for those who had a heart to give. Thank you for your donation. We got here: when Africa regains her power and America loses hers, don't switch, keep claiming Native American. Okay, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, family. So why do we just need to peg our purposes of existence in history by application of foreign affiliations and therein seek some sort of validation? We are who we are. And we are who we are, but that's why I said you can call yourself whatever you want. But, if one is trying to tell other people that you're Native Americans, I mean, And well, you know, you can have a right to say do that, but for me as an elder to my young brother, or you know, my young brother, I think it's incumbent upon me to say, okay, all right, you shared yourself, your information, but yo, what you are stating, I don't know what your travels are. I don't know where you've been, but it doesn't sound like you've left America and you're relying on America's information and not other countries' information based upon the histories and the documentations that exist. So that's all I'm saying, you know. All right, who we got here? Let me add some folks right here to the stream.
Hi, Go Black.
What's up
Okay,
there?
this is Malawi. Well, Malawi. I just want to clarify some of these things people which they deny, as you said. I really appreciate for you say people should do more research or they should travel. I'll give a very one quick example to pick up to sometimes to learn things. Los Angeles. Los Angeles is one very, very influential city in the US. Los Angeles. If you look at the word Los Angeles itself, it says Los Angels. Joe Black, you've been to Tanzania. Do you know that Los Angeles is the same as Kilimanjaro? If you read the word Kilimanjaro backwards from the end of Kilimanjaro, it says Lo Njamaleki. Maleki in African, in Bantu languages, is angels. Do you really think a tribe from Tanzania could influence colonizers in America to change the city name in California to Los Angeles? It means the people who named Los Angeles were actually the same people who named the Mount Kilimanjaro in African languages. Los Angeles, if you read it backwards, is Los Angeles, the same as Kilimanjaro. If you read in Kilimanjaro backwards, it's Lo Njamaleki. You know, because most of the words in our languages in Africa, when you read it backwards, you decode a lot of things. You know, the same with the word Caribbean. Caribbean is Karibuni. It's Swahili for Karibuni. You know, so it means those people the same people who occupied Tanzania, they're the same people who occupied Los Angeles, who came to the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
The same like Morocco. Morocco, if you go into the actual word for Morocco, Morocco, you know, the Moor names like Moor, these are African words. You know, the people they travel there. If you go to Maori in New Zealand, believe me, if you look at the words, they'll be the same words, tribal names in Africa. You go to Papua New Guinea, you know, and as you recommended for people, if they can manage to listen to some of Runoko Rashidi travels, you'll be amazed. You'll be received in these parts of the country when you go. People, they will receive you as family, because if you use names like, it took names like Rakisha, very popular in America. These are African words. Rashon, Vashon. You know, you can think maybe it can be written in English, maybe in French, maybe, but the actual word when you speak it and you talk to an African who actually tell you the meaning. Rashon is from the Shona tribes in Zimbabwe. There's so many. I've just given an example of Los Angeles, was an influential city, you know. And just look Kilimanjaro, read Kilimanjaro backward. It will tell you it's the same as Los Angeles. You know, it means the Queen Khadif who established California. It means he came from Tanga in Tanzania. He came from that region, the Congo region, or they were Bantus. You know, these people, they used to travel. If you study the history of Phoenicians, these are black people who used to wear mariners. They used to travel all over the globe. If you go all over the Pacific, you find the people there. They have this, and they are proud. If you listen to Runoko Rashidi's video, they are very proud to say, yeah, we came from Africa. In Maori, the team in New Zealand, they actually call themselves All Blacks. They even sing the dances, the national anthem when they play all over the world. The New Zealand, they are very proud, and they sing those African dances, you know. That's the only thing I just want to contribute. Travel, research.
Yeah, so I appreciate it, brother. I'm gonna pass the mic over. Yeah. But Jerry, you're right. You know, when it comes to you know, traveling is very important. But I tell you, man, I appreciate your words and all that right there. You have a good one. I'm gonna pass it on right here, the mic to my brother right here. Go Ham is in the house. Appreciate you, McGraby.
Oh, by the way, and my name, have you seen the name there? Have you seen that name, Go Black? Malawi.
Morabi. All right, thank you.
That's Labai, the name Labai is African. Malawi.
Okay, I can't, huh?
Bantu languages is interchangeable.
Can you hear me?
Interchangeable.
Yeah. All right, hey, Morabi, thank you very much, brother.
Okay, cheers.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it's starting to have a little difficulties there.
Yeah, you on that truck traveling the world or what?
Absolutely. I'm over here in Indiana right now.
Okay. What you got for us, brother?
I've been watching, and I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of folks haven't did a lot of traveling. When you hear them talking about these subjects, you never hear them speaking from the other side of the pond. So how can you just, like you said, how could you just dismiss all of the evidence, the mountains and mountains of evidence that's over there that indicate that some form of slavery took place? And I don't never hear them really address that other than stuff like, well, we can't find the ships. You go to the most of the museums, they document the history. Some people that's old enough, they can recite the oral history. And a lot of folks over there know more about it than people over here, which is surprising to me, given the fact that, colonization took place and all of that. So I tend to agree with you. And I've always said that because I've been on the brother's channel plenty of times as well. And, I think he truly believes that. And maybe some folks were here because we did circumnavigate the whole planet. So what was the origin? Where did we start from? Okay, so if it was Africans here in the Americas, where did they come from? Was the origin here in America, or was the origin in Africa? Where was the origin? We had to start somewhere and then kind of spread out, So that's what I want to know. And then also, I want the brother to present his documentation showing the different places he's been to in West Africa and Central Africa. And then I would like to see him there and him refute those monuments, those dungeons, the different slave islands, why he's there. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah, and that's what I said, that I would hope to know what his history of travel is. I don't know if he's ever been to the continent. I would love to hear his side of the story. If he has been, how does he refute all of the evidence that is over in Africa? They say that the transatlantic slave trade never happened. When you got dungeons, you've been over there. Me and you even went on, trip together in Ghana. We've been all around there and been to the dungeons, spat on the jokers' graves. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so it's like, okay, all right, I hear your point, but man, you got a lot to prove beyond there ain't no ships.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Like you said, I give him that. But I would like to see the brother over there in those structures and him make a good case on it's not what we're seeing. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, like I said, I was there, Gorée Island, there in Gambia and there in, Ghana, and been to all of those places. And they ain't just sitting there looking old and raggedy for nothing with a lot of history on it.
Exactly.
And
I was going to say, even when we was in Cape Coast and we went to Elmina, when you go down in those dungeons, you can still smell the stench. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, I mean, some people say they can smell it real strong. I mean, And some said they even felt the spirits, you know, that vibe, you know, of the spirits of the suffering and the pain. And so, you know, everybody has their own, but I'm with you on that. And like I said, you know, much respect to my brother, you know, my young brother.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm never
but
going to discourage him. No, I'm not
yeah,
going to do.
I'm just wonder, you know, I guess this was him who supposedly was calling, but all he had to do was show his face in the back scene real quick and then go ahead and cover his face back up. But, you know, my thing is I'm kind of curious of how does he refute whether the Caribbean stories, Europe stories, Spain, Britain, Dutch, the Danish, the French, who have their histories, their books, their records showing that slavery existed. They translated them across to the Americas. How do you refute all that? Because there's no ships. I mean, goodness, like I said, you know, there's animals that are extinct. You gonna say they never existed because you don't see them? There's things that we created back hundreds of years ago that you can't find no more, but you gonna say they never exist? I mean, so and I guess, you know, like I said, he has a zeal, yet he has a bias, personal want to us to be natives. And my thing is, I'm not gonna say you're not native. If you know your history, you know your history. I know majority of us come from Africa. There might be there's Africans that were here, of course, before Europeans came. They did trading, they did things like that. But as a mass number, most of us came from Africa to translate a slave trade. That's where
I agree 100%. And I would also like to see the brother take one of the DNA tests as well. That's another thing I would like to see.
Take the test?
Yes. I would like to see him take the test and reveal it to us. What is his breakdown of Native American?
Well, I think if I remember seeing one of his videos, he even called that a sham. I think he was saying that the DNA is all a sham and they created that and they're misguiding people. But hopefully he can do a show, have me on, and we can get some clarification and we can be able to ask him some of these questions because of a lot of people want to know what the video he put out. And I couldn't sit still and remain quiet when I know my history, what I've seen, my experience and all that there, that I'm not, you know, you can't refute it.
Nah. I was listening to the brother before I went to Africa the first time, but after going 7 times and being in all those places, I would like to see him really, like, he's a good speaker and he really has a passion about what he's speaking about. And I would like to see him there. Okay. And I was still, even though he may not believe in the DNA test, I was kind of on the fence about it as well, but I realized something. Me and a lot of my people are really not close. And so they've taken the test. They didn't inform me they took it. I didn't inform them that I took it. And I got an email saying that this person here could possibly be your first cousin. When I opened up the email, sure enough, it's my first cousin that I haven't talked to in like 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if I didn't believe before that, I believe now. Then my son took the test, right? I got an email saying that this person here could possibly be your child. And I opened it up, sure enough, it's my son.
Yeah.
So it's a validity to these tests. That's all I gotta say.
I mean, there is. I mean, it's happened to my sister who did the same thing, you know, and, you know, call me and say, hey, there are some of our cousins that are on here. I wound up taking the DNA test, I think me and my wife 3 years ago or so. And then, you know, some of my cousins popped up on it. So it's like, hey, it's picking up. So, I mean, you can't refute that when your own cousins and family members. You can't say it's false then. You can't say, oh, this is false. And the one thing that we did on the African ancestry, I didn't reveal them any information. They'll ask you some questions like, you know, what is your dad's ethnicity? I didn't reveal none of that. I didn't even reveal my name to reveal that I might even be African. You know what I'm saying? So I left all that blank and it still came back me having African descent and all the other stuff, you know, from the tribe.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I put in for my mother about two or 3 years ago. And I changed my name when I accepted Islam 30-some years ago. So I put my mom in up under our old name. I put myself in up under my new name, which I legally changed it 30-some years ago. So we got two different names. Well, we both did African ancestry. They came back, same tribe, same percentages.
Yeah.
So how I at first I might have been on the fence, but I'm not on the fence about it no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the brother should just take it, and even if he doesn't believe in it, take the test. I would like to challenge
prove
him.
it wrong.
Take
Prove
the
it
test,
wrong.
even though he doesn't believe in it, and refute the results.
Hey, that's where you seek truth, is you got to prove it wrong.
Exactly.
If you take the test and you see, okay, all right, well, have another family member take the test. See, does it pick up the markers from you and them? See what happens. If it does, then hey, there's some validity to this then. But
exactly.
But that's what we do. That's why I say, you got to find your own truth. You got to search out. You got to research. Because we walk around believing a whole lot of what other people told us, what other people said, what you saw somebody else do. I mean, you got to create your own. You got to be able to find for yourself what is. And there are those, like I said, man does a great job on doing documentaries, but I already understand his is personal bias because he stands on what he believes and he wants to prove it. But I know what he does. He excludes a lot of other things that can't be refuted. That just can't be refuted. Yeah. But that's what but you know what? The movies do it. The daggone books do it. Yeah. I mean, he did a video showing that, when Alex Haley was sued by a white guy for a part of the story of Roots. And I was like, books, you think books are really absolute truth? Do you think movies, when they say, true story, you don't think there's embellishment in there? You don't think that was taken from some other story? Somebody got a bits and come on. I mean, yeah.
I agree 100%. That's why I say I would like to see that. And that would be good content for him to see if what he's really saying is true. Because based off of what he's saying, it's almost to me that he hasn't been.
That's what I came up. I'm like, I don't think he's been to Africa. I don't think he's been to Europe. I don't think he's been to some of these countries that I've been to that I've seen. I don't think. But then again, that's what I would like for, I was hoping he would come on, but maybe he'll do a video and maybe share.
Yeah, I would like to see him come on too, just because we got both of our, I see we have respect for the brother, because I definitely do. But I was really on this channel a lot before I went to Africa the first time. But after going there, that's why, if you notice on some of my videos, I might have said, whether we came from America or we came from Africa. When I start saying whether we came from America, the reason why I say that is because I'm including my man Dane. You see what I mean? Because I know that's what a lot of folks over here think. And then some people do approach me that way, like, well, we started in America. So I was like, I'm not gonna argue with y'all. I'm all for that. But until y'all go over there with me and we in them dungeons and we go to those islands, we see the ruins, the buildings are still there.
They still
okay. The names of the buildings are still there. We could go in them dungeons and still, if you got a good enough nose, because you've been doing your vegan and your vegetarian thing, you're gonna be able to smell that stench.
Well, what we all went through. I mean, there's just no denying. I mean, from the structures that are erected all up and down the coast that we've seen. So, I mean, it is what it is. But hey, there are ladies out there. I'm putting the link out here. Somebody said, let the ladies come in. So
okay, we'll let the ladies come in. I want to see what they got to say.
Oh yeah, it's got to have our sisters in there. We need the feminine energy. So I put the link in the chat and all that right there. But I'm gonna do the last 10 minutes here, I guess, to make it 2.5 hours. But I put the chat right there. If you come in the back room, please show your face real quick, and you can cover back up because I do a screening of my guest who comes on. So please show your face as you go in the back room. Then you can cover up, and then I'll bring you forward into the chat. So yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go and let you get the ladies in. But when I get ready to pass through your city, I'll make sure I give you a call so we can chop it up.
All right, brother. All right. Be safe out there.
All right. Peace.
All right. Peace out.
All
bro.
right. Thank you.
All right now. Yeah, family. Let's see if we can get some ladies, or even guys, if you want to. I got the last 10 minutes here that I'm putting out. I'd like to love to hear from some of the sisters. You know, what do y'all think? You know, I mean, we've been talking about this for the last 2 hours. I got to see a lot of sisters out there. Go and call in on this chat, and so we can get a other side of the perspective from our beautiful queens that are out there. Yes. Let's see what we got out here. See what y'all saying. Okay, we got somebody. Okay, show your face there, Cromanti. You got to show your face, and then you can go ahead and cover back up. And let's see here. I see a lot of sisters out there. Go and call in on this chat. Miss V. Other side perspective. You know, beautiful queens that are out there. Hello. Yes. Let's see what we got out here.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So we got a first sister in the night. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing great. Doing great.
Well, my point I wanted to make that they're saying there was no ships found. That is totally erroneous. There were ships found. Mm-hmm. Actually, the ship Clotilda that was found, I don't know if everybody was aware of that in, I believe, Alabama.
Mobile, Alabama?
Alabama. It was a ship that was the last ship that was not supposed to actually sail to the America for slavery. Slavery is supposed to have been abolished as far as the transatlantic, but it was one that was actually came in 1860. Mm-hmm. And that ship, parts of that ship was found in the Alabama River, for those who didn't know. And it was, one of the last ships that came from slavery that did, make their last dropping in the Alabama, which they did find pieces of that in the Alabama River. It's called the Clotilda. So for those who might want to look that up, it has been documented, and it is such as it was a ship. So
the other thing is that one might make it seem as though that the slave ship was just for slaves. I mean, cargo was used for these ships, means of transportation and other means. I mean, it wasn't just ships just for slaves, that he would lean to have us to believe. But, like I said, even if there was no ships, I mean, it doesn't mean that it did not happen. You know what I'm saying? Because there's too much other evidence to prove it. But I appreciate that, though, because I did read there was something in Alabama but I didn't think that they had found it yet. That they say they discovered it, but it's not been like pulled out or something like that.
They said from the article that I read, I should have put a link in. They did say that they found pieces of the ship, not the ship itself, because I guess the years of decay and whatnot. But they did find pieces of the ship, and they did identify it as the ship Clotilda, and that was one of the last ships that sailed for for slavery.
Okay. Well, appreciate that information, sister.
Okay, no problem.
All right, you have a good evening.
You too.
All righty, we got 7 more minutes, family here. AJ, can you please reveal? I don't know if you got a good connection or not. No, you don't have a good connection. Any other ladies out there that want to go ahead and come in and share their opinion, their view, their knowledge on this topic matter? I'm sending the link right back in here. Would love to hear from some of our ladies out there. I think I might have a little connection thing here. Okay. Link is back out there. We got 6 more minutes, and then we'll just come to a close after that. If not, if we don't get somebody here in a minute, I'll just go ahead and kind of wind it down for right now. But I hope that each and every one of y'all who came in may have, got a different side of my perspective, my experience, and my understanding. Like I said, as that disclaimer I did in the beginning, I got much respect for my brother, Dane, for the work he's doing. And I believe his documented documentaries that he's doing is definitely a lot of work he put into it. And he, like his motto is that I'm just here to have you think. And so, you know, we need people who can provoke thought, and we need people who wants to go ahead and unwind that mindset in the way we've been taught, to maybe even go on a journey, a venture, to go ahead and research. And so I like I said, I have respect for the brother. I will not ridicule. I will not try to bash or just try to belittle my brother, because hey, he's the family. And so it's all about, you know, sharing the love and showing the respect. And that's what I want to do on my show, is show that we as a people, even though we may disagree and don't see eye to eye on things, we still can show respect to one another, and we still can have a love. I'm not sure who's in the 9 Ether. If you could show who you are real quick, I'll let you in. You'll be the last guest. But 9 Ether, Neither, I guess that would be. But yeah, family. So, you know, I appreciate y'all. I haven't done one of these right here in a long time, because I stay away from a lot of conversations that I feel as though don't go anywhere. I like to really be in conversations that have solutions. But sometimes, you know, topics that I see that come up, that I know I've stepped foot in countries, that I've done my history check. I've proved to you all by y'all watching my travels, what I've come across, what other countries have said, what other documents are out there, what proofs that exist out here in the rest of the world. I share it. And this right here is one means that I share with you all. Just here is the beautiful books my wife put together of our investigations and our travels and visits across just here in America on the native side, and also the African side that we did our research on. And then, you know, I stepped into Africa. I've stepped over into the Caribbeans. You know, I've been to DR, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Panama, I've been to South America, I've been to Aruba, I've been to Curacao. So it is gaining a lot of stuff when you travel. This is my last person, Sai. I'm sorry I can't get to you because I got to get off. What's up, my brother? How we doing today?
What's happening, brother?
Good, good. It's all good. What you got?
All is well. I missed a lot, but did Dane come on?
Nah, he didn't come on. He tried to have he didn't show his face, and I asked him, and he said he was trying to come on, but you know, you got to reveal who you are. I know people put fictitious names and photos up there, and you know, I don't want the enemy coming in and trying to disturb what we got going on.
Fair enough. Okay. Sad enough. Okay. But I just wanted to put my opinion out there because I don't know, he could be onto something. Like, not all Americans are gonna be African. But I mean, like, I didn't see anybody talking about, like, you know, the travels from where Africa actually touched America. Like, you know, the Mali Empire in 1300s was there. You understand? So with that presence, you could have that that connection with Africa.
Yeah, you came in late. Yeah, you came in late. You know.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, because we let it be known that we've been scattered across the globe for thousands of years, and we've put our imprint on many of the continents and countries. And I've stated that yes, the Africans was here way before the Europeans came here. You know, in America.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I've said that, you know, hey, if one wants to claim that they're native and they got native in them, or, you know, whatever, hey, I'm not one to argue against that. You know, if you know your history, you know who you are, hey, hands up to you. But when I'm hearing someone proclaim that the transatlantic slave trade never happened, then I have to now say, hold up.
I mean, some things he's saying can be a stretch, but I mean, when he's talking about the tides, the water, those things, you kind of got to put that into consideration too. Like, how many of these ships would have wrecked rather millions of Africans get to the land of America? I mean, it was only said that one ship made it to America from the Mali Empire. You know, he sent, you know, the emperor he sent many ships and they all got wrecked, and, you know, individuals only came back and said such and forth. So it's like, I can't really say he's wrong because I don't think all Americans are gonna say they're African. Like you have people like Chingy, That's So Raven. She's talking about she's native to America. So like there's gonna be a mix. I think we're all mixed at the same time. Dravidians, etc., Airwax, Taínos, we're all mixed. It's all about being carbonated beings. Rather, I'm American, I'm African. You know, I think just being carbonated beings would keep us together instead of just using these still European names to distinguish ourselves as African and Americans when those two names weren't even the true names of the continent. So
we don't, hey brother, we don't even need names. We
exactly.
got this. We got this.
We have the carbon. We have the carbonated
That's it. Yeah.
evidence right here.
Yeah.
So, you know, I look at the Dogon tribe and, you know, they, you know, the Sirius stars, what they follow, you know, falling from the star, black matter, etc. That's like Kemetic, you know, with Kemet, that's like, you know, not calling ourselves anything but what we look like, which is black.
Mm-hmm.
So by saying American and African, then we're gonna have these type of arguments where Dane Calloway saying one thing and you got yourself saying another thing, which both of you guys are big influencers to me. So I can't have you guys being, you know, combative with the two, you know, such great information. And you know, it's sad that we have to be doing this to figure out who we are.
Well, that's why I challenge everybody.
Fair
enough. If you want to know your truth, don't listen to me. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to nobody. Find your truth for yourself. That's why I said that's the problem that we as a people have. We want everybody to tell our story. You know, in closing right here, brother, you know, I appreciate you, man. All right. 100%. All right. Good evening. Peace. You know, all right. Peace out. You know, family, I just watched a video. Now, y'all know, for those who watch my channel, that I just came from Namibia. And there is a African YouTuber out here who just did a segment on Namibia. And he had a European explaining in Namibia. And I was like, and there was no African in the video face that you could see. It was only the city, the mountains, the ocean, the houses. And with a European woman explaining the, see, we always want people to tell our story. We want people to be able to tell us who we are. We don't want to find out who we are. That was the first rule in a Kemetic in society, was the fact is of know thyself. Because I've said this right here. If you don't know who you are, somebody will tell you. And in damn Erica, put the D in front of America, capitalize the E, damn Erica, she will tell you who you are. Now, I ain't saying, like I said before, that you got to be calling yourself an African. That's just a name. I call it a point of reference. So you know, in a region of an area where you're talking about, that don't mean that you are such, because we run around talking about, I'm New Yorkan, I'm Floridian, I'm Texan, really? No, you're not. You live in a land that was put with borders and you want to claim it, just like in Africa. I'm Nigerian, I'm Ghanaian, I'm Egyptian, I'm Moroccan. Those are names that the Europeans have created, and they're really division. How about we just be a people who was the beginning, original, for the rest to come from we were the first of humanity. That is scientifically proven. That ain't coming from me. That's coming from trials and tests and find that the oldest even human bones is found in the continent of Africa. And everything else branches off from it. Africa is the root. Kabulan and all these other names that I keep hearing. I'm not getting twisted over the name. It's just a point of reference where it's from. No different than if they called us blackface. If they called us, you know, any name because it was black skin, they gave us a name. But the name ain't what it is. It's really, do you know who you are? And we know, being in damn Erica, people are confused in who they are. You got people who think they men, who think they women, and women think they men. Confused. So family, I appreciate each and every one of you all. I appreciate y'all for chiming in. Look out for my next videos that I got coming out here. Very interesting things I'll be having. Go through my records of my travels and see the places I've touched. See the so-called gory islands I've been on that has the erected slave trading posts, the dungeons that are all in Elmina and Cape Coast in Ghana, whether it's the Kunte Kinte Island, St. James, whatever you want to call it there in Gambia. These have structures that are still erect. Go to Sierra Leone. These are places that are wrecked. They have their story, their books that prove that they even say that they have sold Africans to the Europeans. Ghana has given out so far 5,000 acres that is allotted, and only I think 100 people's taken advantage of it so far. Go get your land, pay your $700 with $700. You want more information on that? Go to Echo, EKOW Simpson. He has a YouTube channel in Ghana. He keeps doing updates on the land, showing people who's building their houses. Because Ghana admits that they, by their history, sold Africans to the Europeans. Can't get around it. Can't get around it. So my thing is, family, appreciate y'all. Much love and respect to each and every one of you all. Also respect to my brother again, Dane Calloway, because he does a great job in his being able to deliver a presentation. But I've said before, his delivery is personal and his bias, in my opinion. And I try to give information so that you can make the decision off the information that I show. I might cross the line every now and then, you know what I'm saying, that when I get on, you know, about talking about damn America and stuff. Yeah, I know I do too. But I'm just saying though that, you know, you got to make your own decision. You got to make your own, do your own research. Because if you don't know who you are, somebody will tell you. This is your man, not your boy. Go black to Africa. All right, peace out, family.